We're ready to start pretty quickly. Cindy, can you hear us? Mark?
Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, Cindy, now I can hear you. This is your committee. Do you want?
Okay. No, you go ahead and share it, please.
All right.
I hear you guys. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
And Mark said he was gonna be.
But if you know whether or not whining. Yeah, ready over there.
Debbie, thanks again for correcting my little snafu, because I was thinking that the times of the meetings were reversed. So she got this link out to me real quick. I appreciate that.
All right, the Administrative Services Committee meeting, July 15th, 2024 will come to order. All commissioners are present either in the room or on, or virtually. And I don't think any of us have anything to offer, so Ms. Nelson, are you ready to roll?
I am. So, I'm gonna hand out again the stuff that I handed out from last meeting. Just so you had a copy here. And it shows, the value that we're working with. It's a 5.29% increase. We've got the centrally assessed valuations. I got it and worked on them on Saturday. And they're pretty much exactly the same as they were. I think it changes our total value by $4. Our value of a million. So it's not much, $4,000. So we will continue with the value that we have here. Remember that we talked about that 5.29% and what it means in dollars. And if we levied exactly the same in the general fund at 47.75 mils, we'd have $945,211 to work with to keep our mills the same. And that's just the starting point. If you wanted to reduce the mills, you would reduce from that 945,000, or if you're okay going above that, your mills would be increasing. So then I had listed on here, the general fund mills and where they came from in addition to the general fund. And then how your taxable value is calculated. And the cost of salary increase, both a step and a COLA and what that would cost. And then the costs for these additional employees that have been requested are all listed in here. The final budget must be may not increase after the preliminary budget is approved. So you can go down, but you can't go up. So, and the preliminary budget has to be approved by August 10th. So I do have it on the agenda tomorrow. If you decide you could approve it, the preliminary at that time, you could set a special meeting, or you could do it the first meeting in August. Because that will be within by August 10th.
Right.
After the preliminary budgets are received from all the taxing entities, I have to calculate the mill levies for all the entities and send out an estimated tax notice and budget hearing notice by August 31st. So the Employees Association asked for a 3% COLA and a step for qualified employees. In addition, they asked for additional hours, wellness hours, and or additional vacation hours per month after 18 years, 2 additional hours. HR said this CPI is set at 2.8%. And Castile also said if the county could only afford to do a COLA or a step, that the HR would prefer a COLA. So I have sent a link to those that are online, and I would like to go through some of that information that I presented. I'll give you guys hard copies of it.
What's your light on? No.
The light is on, oh, now it's blinking. I mean, I can just. Sit on.
It's on now.
Yeah, we just.
Okay, this is the first one I'm gonna send around. And this is what our budget would look like with all the requests that were received, other than positions or any kind of salary increase. So this shows the general fund and all other special revenue funds, and the list, their budget, their revenue, and then the net levy, showing you what they need to levy, and how many mills that is. It also gives you how many mills they're limited to, each of those levies. So without, with all of the requests that you received, but without any position, we would be at 89.43 mills. So the last, the third to last column here shows you the 2025 budget at 89.43. The next column shows you the 2024 amount of 94.5, or a decrease of 5.07. In that, there is health insurance. We put health insurance at a 10% increase. We have no idea what it's going to be. And that's $245,000 that's included for the general fund for that. There's a couple things that you need to make a decision on, which is Red River Regional Council asked for $25,000 more than they did last year. The Circle of Friends asked for $5,000 more than they did last year. CDIC, which isn't included in this budget, but is going to be paid with ARPA funds. They asked for $378,180, but that can be offset by leasing space in this building. So then it ends up being $358,000. And then capital improvements, just so you know, or remember that we have $1 million included in this budget. And we have over $1 million in requests, and in that handout I gave you shows you the requests that we've received and that it exceeds the $1 million. So like 5th page of that packet shows you all the capital improvement.
What's the total on that one? Do you have that on that page?
That 1.195.
Yeah. Yep, $1,195,500 in requests.
I just didn't have time to get to it yet.
Sure. So also, I wanted to show you something I have on sheet 2. So if we went with the no increases for, no employees, no additional employees, no increases, and we're at 89.43 mills,
When you say no increases, no set, no COLA or anything?
nothing.
Okay.
So that would be, $8 and, or so the, let me step back a little bit. So if you had an average value home in Grand Forks City, and it was valued at $230,000, and it increased the average increase of 4.7%. It would be 240,810. I have that on my screen, and Commissioners Peach and Rusted, you can see that on the 2025 budget, that document that I sent you. On sheet 2. So. That's how that works, and we'll do that for every example I'm going to show you, and how much it will cost a taxpayer.
Should we be seeing something on a screen?
Yeah, you can,
Well, it's not there, there's nothing here. It's not,
oh, maybe I need to turn TV on then,
I don't know,
maybe that's the problem.
I don't know.
I think so, because it's not showing up on our screen.
Must be on the side or something.
Yeah, it's on the side. Usually, I haven't turned that TV on for months, it's never off.
Magically, no, this is
You got it?
the light's off now, so I don't know what they pushed there off.
Well, if that doesn't work, I do have it. I can rate it off if the TV is goofy.
But it's looking. Yeah, it's getting. I think it's looking for
It's
input.
It's coming.
There we go.
That helps.
All right, so average value of the home, $230,000 in the city of Grand Forks in 2024. Their average increase for a residential property was 4.7%. If their value went up, that average of, it would be 240,809 or 810. If you look at the mills column on row 10, it's 94.5 last year, it's 89.43 this year, if you did nothing. And then the taxpayer would see an $8.97 decrease in their tax bill for the city portion of their bill.
Okay, so that portion, yeah.
Yeah, because there's other portions, the city, the school, the park, they're all in there too, so we can't control that, that's part of it.
Right.
Okay? So now I'll give you another example. Let's say you did everything that people ask for, not employees though, and you just gave a step, this is what it does. Let me see it online. Step. Commissioner Rusted and Peach is just, I think it's the last spreadsheet I have, it says step. That's the one we're looking at. And that one shows a decrease of 4.51 mils, so a little less, but fairly close.
Okay.
And then if you want to do a step and a 2.8% COLA. All right, there. For that one.
Here.
You see where that's at, Commissioner Rusted and Peach?
Yes, I do.
Okay,
Yeah, I just found it as she was speaking.
okay, good. So that spreadsheet shows everything that was requested, no employees, a step increase and a 2.8% COLA. And then I have the highway department, $86,000. They would have to pay for that. It would not cost us anymore. They have to delete something else and then do the salary, if that's what you decide to do. Their levy will not change.
Oh, I see.
There will be 10 mils, no matter what,
Oh,
you can't get more, and they will not get.
Exactly, okay.
So that's a negative 2.99 mils. And I have a spreadsheet. That's all additional positions requested, so all those positions at the correctional center, at the sheriff. The HR department and IT, all the employees are included. And that is the third tab, all additional employees. On my spreadsheet.
That's when you're passing out, okay.
Now, if we hired every single person that was requested. But did not give anybody a COLA or a step,
Okay.
we're both equal. As to where we were last year with Mills.
You said this is without. Say it last what you said.
All additional positions requested, nothing else is included in here,
COLA's
no
not-
COLA, no
Just
steps,
new people.
Yeah.
just new people.
Yep.
Okay. Now, this is all new people, a step and a COLA,
Everything,
that's everything,
and all requests.
and all requests.
This is if we were king for a day.
What was that?
If you were king for a day, all requests.
Yeah, so that's a 2.21 mil increase, and so let's bring up the other spreadsheet that I have. And look at what that does, so my 89.43 mils changes to 94.5. Now we have $45.97 increase for an average taxpayer that has a home of $230,000 and in 2024 and got an average increase.
How does farmland fit into this?
Let's go down there and look.
Sorry, I am.
Farmland has no increase. Oh, I put in the wrong number. I put in the wrong number here. I got, it's 96.71. So it's $69.92. On an average $230,000 home in 2024 that had an average increase of 4.57%. Now, what does it do for A? Well, A, if you recall, from 2024 to 2025 didn't change in value. There was no increase in A value, so they have a $22.10 increase. Okay, and then right in the middle, I've got commercial at. And
Wait, $22, how do you put that in dollars for farmland? Acre? Word?
so it's $11.05 per $100,000 for
100,000?
Yeah.
Okay,
valuation.
Yeah.
And commercial. What I was told by the city assessor was that they went up 9.42%. So if we increase our levy by 2.21 mils. And their valuation went up 9.74. On a $230,000 2024 value, now $251,000. And the increase $130 or almost 12% increase on that. And on this spreadsheet, I also show you per 100. So that would, for a residential property, it's $9.94 per 100,000. If we increase. Say 2.21 mils. So I've got all kinds of examples. I'm gonna pass them all out so you understand there are different options and there are many different options that I have. I'm not going to present that you could come up with it. We can go with that. So this is all additional correctional center positions requested. So there was discussion that there's a potential that they don't have to start on January 1.
Good question.
Yeah,
These. The last one that says all additional positions requested and so on, would have been, doesn't include this one too, but now you're taking out some of the other ones. Other staff, the
so,
one that says all additional positions requested
yep, that's everybody.
and staff.
All in,
2.8.
this is only at correctional center. This, the one I just passed out is
I get-
only
I get
correctional
that.
center.
Were they included in this other?
Yes, but they are part of all.
Okay,
Yeah, now if you just say, we need to staff the correctional center, we have just built a building for the correctional center, how much will it cost? If we just include the correctional center and no other employees, no other increases in pay for existing employees. And then there was the comment that they wouldn't start January 1.
right,
For every month that they don't start, you can take off, and I've got that noted at the top, 93,526. So are they gonna start April 1, say take off 3 months?
Okay.
We could do that. Okay,
but you have that. Drops the mill, the mill levy still down 1.32, is that, how that still works?
Yep.
On the sheet you just gave?
yep,
Debbie?
Yeah.
I do have a question. When we're talking about increasing the correctional center or giving them the additional staff they need, then we're not talking about sheriff's department, HR and IT, correct?
correct. I
Are
did
there-
get option that the previous option had all the employees requested.
Right.
This option that I'm presenting now, just the correctional center. And then I did one, now the next one is the correctional center officers without the admin position. Remember they had one admin position, I took it out.
Yep.
So that's what it would do if you took that position out, and then again, I have the cost per month, $87,075. If you decided that, okay, we don't need to start January 1, or they won't start.
Well, I do want to remind everyone that in 2024, we did do an increase for the sheriff's department, but also in 2024, IT and HR did ask for those staff. They were not granted in 2024, but I believe that we did have discussion that in 2025, they would be priority.
I was not given any staff in 24.
No, it was just the increase in dollars to pay the staff.
Yeah, the sheriff's department.
Right.
Wage increases.
Right, but we give wage increases to them.
Well, this was huge though.
Right, no, I understand, but.
So the last example that I have is all correctional center officers without admin position and a 2.8% COLA for all employees. And that is a 94.56.
Additional, like 0.06.
Yep. So, if you wanna look at these. Say I'd like to see something else. Let me know. Of what-
I don't have a problem with the 2.8% COLA and the step for all staff. Adding in correctional center officers, but I would like to see the HR staff person and the IT staff person added in.
So that is, I do have that. If I can find it.
So this.
Yes, so there is a spreadsheet, all additional positions requested, so that's sheriff, HR, IT, and all of them at the correctional center, plus a step and 2.8% COLA. And we're at 96.71 mils, or 2.21 mil increase over last year.
What kind of an impact does that have on the taxpayers then?
So if you look at the sheet called 2025 budget, it's the second sheet two. If you go into that sheet for a residential property that's valued at $230,000 for 2024 and got an average increase of 4.75%. Their increase would be almost $70. Or 7.15% increase.
One of the things I think that all the commissioners need to recognize is the fact that we have seen increases in previous years for city government, park district, school district, and we haven't increased our mills. I believe 2024 was one of the first years we increased mills. Is that correct, Debbie?
I did not bring that up.
In past years?
We did have that discussion recently.
Yes,
we
and I did
think-
print you a copy of that.
Yeah, so we go a number of years with no tax increase. No general mills tax, so that's what people equate to the tax increase. But then we did how many mills for the correctional center? 4? 1 mill increase. If you remember.
Well, the mill, the correctional center is part of the general fund.
Yeah, I understand. How
So-
many mills was it that year that we?
I-
For
I don't recall how many mills, but
some reason, I think it might have been 4. But wasn't that 2 years ago or was that 3 years ago?
I guess I'm not
All
following.
these, well, I'm just. We're gonna be. People holler about tax increases, if it's 0.01, it's still a tax increase, you see, and that's. Yeah. In this political environment, I think we have to try to keep. Things as close to as they were. Yeah, I think we can, I agree.
So that would cost an additional $2.7 million.
What would-
That example, but all additional positions requested the staff at 2.8%. It's $2.7 million.
Mr. Chair, I'm not sure how many years ago that correctional center increase took place, but I can promise you it was before my time, if that helps.
Yeah, I just probably. Just got your joke.
I think it
I think it was
was,
the
I
year.
do think it was the year before you and everybody came on. But in any event, an increase is an increase, and we're trying to hold the line if we can.
Yeah.
Are you talking about the capital construction
Well,
for the correctional center? Is that what you're talking about?
well, it was a. We had to raise the mills and with the capital construction rather than general fund.
Yes,
In any event, we raised the mills
Yes.
to
yes,
pay for that.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I was quite
Yeah.
stating it accurately, but
yeah.
that
So
was
we
a
did
big
that,
jump.
we did the door.
Yeah, and we had to do
Yeah.
that because the sales tax 0.5%, which would have spread it around everybody in the county and the region, failed by 20 votes. So that puts us in these difficult positions of raising mill levy on property owners. Yeah. So that's the tough part of this. But now, is it just employees, you done your calculations of requested employees? Were there, I don't recall that there were many budget request increases, but in the departments that other than the staffing, is that accurate?
Right, that is accurate, and I do have a list in this. booklet that I passed out, or online, you can also see that 2025. spreadsheet I sent out under that first tab, I believe. Sheet 1. And you can see the general fund request after you look at all the employees here. And if you want the hard copy, it starts on page 4. At the bottom of page 4, and I think you are there.
I think it's here, right?
So those are the increases that were requested by department. And you can see those there. So there's an overall increase of $242,000. Election decrease of 211, because it's not an election year, 2025.
Or did you see the two, did you say 211?
So it's election, I mean, I am there in alphabetical order, so election total went down to 11 to 90.
So that's already calculated for next year.
Can you remind me the assessment center increase? $80,000.
Which one?
The youth assessment center is going up to $80,000 at an 81% increase, and I can't think off the top of my head, right? I remember.
Service agreement.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Robin? Robin, are you online? Debbie, did you talk something else?
Here, $40,000 for our hourly employees. $5,000 for overtime, $2,000 for holiday pay. Longevity went down a little bit, health insurance went down. I think
She just- She just put in the chat that her microphone's not working.
Oh, okay, I got it here, so I'll just go through it. There's an auditing fee for Priya that increased $3,000. Oh, for performance-based standards went from 1,500 to 15,000. I think it was a mistake last year at 1,500.
Yeah.
So she corrected that to 15,000. Summit Food Service increased 4,000. Her medical in-house increased 45,000. And she had a note about that. Increasing the nursing. I don't remember exactly that. Her service agreements went up 13,000. Food and groceries 1,000. And that was it for her budget.
And HR would prefer a COLA if we had to choose between COLA and step. But aren't other agencies preferring a step rather than COLA?
Like the sheriff requested a step instead of a COLA. If we had to do one or the other, he'd prefer a step. But I don't know that anybody else was asked the question or said anything about that.
What creates the compression issues?
Well, there's a couple of different things to take into consideration at this point in time. One, if you grant just the step, and if that keeps our pay grid stagnant. So we kind of undo some of the stuff we started last year, but that also leaves it open for more people to come in at a step 2 instead of a step 1. The concern that the sheriff had said was if you don't do a step, you have someone who's been here for like 2 years. And they would be making the same amount of money as somebody who's newly hired. So it's kind of 6 of one or half dozen of the other. Because if you can't get them hired in at a step 1 and you have to bring them in at a step 2. You're doing the same piece, so. It's better to try figure out a way to be able to do both. And if it's adjusting the COLA. You know, I mean, the ideal, like you said, king for a day or queen for a day would be to be able to figure out how to do both. And if you're not, you can adjust the level of the COLA. Information that I had sent last Friday had given a couple of suggestions, you know, where we look at 2.8 or 2.5 or 2. For COLA, something along those lines.
This is the administrative position that you, for the correctional center, you have without the ADM. Position. A couple of examples, is that a significant savings?
$77,000, I think is how much it costs.
Okay.
I just thought if you were going to look at, would it be nice to have a position? Yes, it would, probably would be nice. Another thing is the correctional or the custodian. Cause if you recall, when we, in the 2024 budget, that we added a half a position or for the correctional center. So we hired one person and then half of it was going to be for snow removal.
Yeah.
And the other half was gonna be for the correctional center, so.
So did that work out that way? I mean, that person,
They haven't had a need yet for that position over there.
So there's a position open, it's just.
No,
No.
they hired a
They
position,
hired, okay.
they hired a position.
yeah, right,
That person was supposed to be 50% snow removal, 50%. To take on the additional square footage of the correctional.
So this person's just doing snow removal now?
Well, I think they're working full time, so they're
Right,
doing other
Something.
things.
right.
So Bill's looking at another custodian, right? For maybe the
Well,
sheriff and,
So it was added under the request of, Mr. Burkholder.
yes,
But whether it's under Mr. Burkholder or it's under Bill, that was kind of the question last
and
time.
it should be under Bill.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, that would make sense.
But the
Yeah.
cost would be the same.
Right.
If it's under
Yeah.
Bill or it's under Brad, it doesn't,
yeah.
I'm looking at the cost of it.
What is
Mr.
that?
Chair?
Is that projected in both their budgets, Bill and Brett?
No, but it's not in anybody's budget because we haven't added that position anywhere yet.
Okay.
Mr. Chair,
Yeah,
the other thing I think we need to recognize is some departments that aren't fully staffed, or if there's a staff person that retires, chances are the new staff person coming on is not going to be at the level of a retired person. So that actually would bump some or make some funds available in that department. Not only with retired staff, but also if there's positions not filled, that would be funds that when they do add a position, they would use those funds instead of having to add it into the budget. Does that make sense?
I think so. But yeah, I'm not sure exactly how it fits when you're juggling so many things.
Commissioner Peach, though, is that something that can be budgeted for, or is that just kind of a lucky happy accident, so to speak? Because
Well, yeah, I mean, it's the fact that if you have salaries on a line item for a certain dollar amount and you don't have positions filled or you replace a retirement position, your funding in that particular line item is going to be available to hire staff, obviously the ones that are unfilled and somebody who's retired. But usually it seems like at the end of the year, there are departments in their staffing or salary line item because they haven't filled positions or they've had retirements. I'm just stating a fact that yes, you can't budget for that, but it happens. And it seems like it happens more often than not that there are funds remaining in staff or salary positions compared to not, they spend all their funds of their department.
So we do take that into account when we look at and do a comparison in 2024 to 2025. And we replace those long-term employees that are leaving, are going to leave or have left to a new person that's starting on step one. So there is a savings, and we did show a savings. I have that included in the 2025 budget information on page 2. It talks about $71,053. If you did absolutely nothing, we would save $71,053 because of that.
Oh, yeah. Do that.
Thank you for that clarification, Debbie.
Sure.
Comments?
You want to go through those, whether or not you want to keep those items. So there were very few items that were included in the budget that were above and beyond, like Red River Regional, Circle of Friends. If you have an issue and you don't want us to include those, we've got them in there, just so you know. Or if you think capital improvements needs to be increased.
I guess I'm wondering about the salaries, the step and COLA for employees. I'm wondering how other commissioners feel. I don't have a choice either way. But when we're looking at a budget and we're trying to keep it not to increase much for the taxpayers, I'm wondering at this point or for 2025, do we go with just one, whether it's a step increase or a COLA increase instead of both? I know that the employee association representing the employees really want the step and the COLA, but is that something that we should look at one or the other instead of both? I guess I'm just wondering what the other commissioners' feelings is on that.
I know where I'm at. I would much rather entertain both the step and the COLA rather than additional staffing. I'd like to take care of the people that we have and retain them more so than I'd like to add additional. If the choice is between one or the other. Now, if we're deciding between a step and a COLA, I think the step makes more sense if we can't do both.
On the first sheet that you gave us, Debbie, that was step only.
Yep.
That didn't include any hiring even for the correctional center, did it?
It did not.
So that seems to be something we can't really put off. We're gonna have to hire someone, people for the correctional center.
I would think you would have to.
So can
So
we take a look at what it would be
eliminate-
like with just a step then?
do what then?
Well, all the positions, at least at the correctional center.
Yep.
And then. That's a step instead of a COLA. But then there's a couple of positions, HR and IT, that we would be leaving out if we do it that way. But. Can you play with that a little bit and see how you can. How close that would bring us to equilibrium, you wanna call it that?
While Debbie's looking, I'll just remind Commissioner Peach and the rest of the commission that last year the sheriff's office did ask for additional staff. In our initial meetings, that was cut and never even presented to the commission, and I did remind the commission when they were going through the budget talks. After Commissioner Peach did say they need to prioritize HR and IT this year, I did come up and remind her that. Sheriff's office did request additional staff that was cut prior to any budget meetings, and that I hope that we'd be considered as a priority as well. So just wanted to make sure you guys are aware of that.
So
Thank you, Sheriff, for bringing that up.
obtain the 94 point highway that we did last year, but take it to, to maintain. I don't know.
But realistically, are we gonna,
No increase.
are we realistically gonna need 10
Well,
correctional officers? I mean, just right there.
What? Do you mean how many?
I'm assuming when you use all correctional officers, that's 10, the 10 that
It's 10 to run it 24/7.
Yeah,
So
that's,
that, I don't know.
and the 2.8 COLA.
Right. But is that realistic? Are we gonna have 10 starting in January? I don't think we will. Because wasn't it
No, they
April?
won't be starting. in
Great,
January.
let's,
you don't know how long though, we don't know how many months we get.
I would,
Then
I
we
would
have
like to
start paying for it.
maintain the 94.5. What
Yeah,
I mean, no increase.
right,
So what
same.
can we do to
Right.
maintain it?
so I added the step to the all additional correctional center positions, the 1.32 decrease, and that changed it to a 0.79 decrease.
We just said, I'm so sorry.
So, the all additional correctional center positions requested.
Okay.
That spreadsheet had a negative 1.32 mils
Yep.
decrease. It went down to a minus 0.79 mils.
And the all staff additions that you have, did it include, a position for IT and HR, but not the sheriff's department, is that right?
Oh, no. When it says all positions includes the sheriff,
Yeah, but did they have a formal request for a staffer?
they did.
Yeah.
Oh,
Two.
Yeah.
Oh, two they sell? Okay, I lost track of that.
So that includes the two sheriff, HR, IT, all requested for the correction center. The custodian, which may not be underbred, but it's in there. And the admin person, and they requested to make a half-time position to a full-time position. And a reclassification.
So. What else? We take off the COLA, or, yeah, the COLA, and just go with the step. And does all the rest of it work out as you just said?
Do you want all the positions now? Because now this was just the corrections center.
Yeah, I know,
You want
I know,
all
but
positions?
If you added those other positions. Some of them, it's hard to just guess. On what we could pull up, do.
Mr. Chair, I didn't quite hear what you are asking of her. Are you asking for the step increase in all positions hired? Is that what's coming up?
She had calculated with all the correctional center, but I'm wondering. How about all the other four then that are requested, two for the sheriff's department, one for IT and one HR?
All right, they did that one comes now, we're 95.03 mils. Or 0.53 mil increase,
How much?
0.53.
0.53 mil increase?
Yep.
I don't know how else we could juggle anything to make it. No increase.
Debbie, that 0.53 mil increase was also including a step for employees or a COLA?
This was just a step,
Okay,
no COLA.
just, we need to reevaluate some of this stuff, we need to reevaluate some of this stuff. You know,
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna be ready for you
no.
to wrap it up tomorrow.
I think,
So
I
we
think some of these,
schedule another time for another meeting, discuss it more today. Or just be ready for the first meeting in August, cause that's.
We'll just, I think we should schedule another meeting too, but
And if you wanna give me some directions and what else you'd like to see done.
well, I think some of these contracted services are something we can look at too. There was some increases requested that maybe should not be accepted. Obviously, the Historical Society, there's no need for that. We can free up some capital in a few ways in some of these areas as I'm looking at this spreadsheet.
I would agree with that.
So Red River Regional asks for $25,000 more and Circle of Friends asks for 5,000.
Those are so small, they don't make a, yeah.
Well, it's still half of an FTE if you combine them.
Well, and I would feel bad if we're not giving a step and a COLA to our employees because we're trying to keep the budget lower. I would feel bad that we're giving increases to contracts when we're not funding the whole request that we're getting from departments or from the employee association. So I would choose to leave all of those dollar amounts as where they were at last year and not increase them.
Those make a significant difference, Ms. Melton.
That's $30,000. Other than CJIC, which is an increase, but it's being paid with ARPA dollars.
Right. So that was a really something we do about.
So $30,000. Do you want to?
What
Have
questions
to take
does
it.
anybody have for Debbie to take a look at? Before we get back together? So we do want to have plenty of time for you to deal with. So it's another meeting, I guess. What direction would you like to give her? What,
Okay, so. The mill levy for 2024 was 94.5, is that what it was?
Yes,
What can we do? I know our property values have gone up, what can we do to maintain that without raising it anymore?
so
Starting with the employees.
so do you know how many of the correctional center employees they need?
I mean, it's basically 10 at the beginning of the year, but
Yeah.
isn't it realistic that it's gonna be at least springtime before they're open?
I think you're gonna get possession of that building around April,
Okay,
which means
So
you can't wait till April to start
Right,
training, so.
you don't need the full amount for that, you
Yeah,
don't
at least
have
2
to
months,
open it.
anyway, I suspect. So,
Take off 2 months?
80,000 there.
Take off 2 months because they need.
Yeah,
If you
I would
open
take-
April, they need a month.
I would take at least 2 months off.
Okay.
Then we got.
And every single employee.
So they
We
wouldn't
want.
be hiring any of them until they're ready to start training, are they?
Yeah,
So
well, and I would like to review some of these positions that people are asking for. Is like, I would like to review some of those too, because I don't feel some departments need the additional personnel. But I would like to review that some more.
What would be the total dollar amount that would have to be taken off to get us to no increase? Because maybe we can work it
Well-
that way, because we can think about those 2 months we won't have correctional center hiring.
Hmm.
That's 180,000 plus, and that's 186 or something.
So which one of these examples do you want to
Well, we're
look
not,
at? So, I mean, do you want to do a COLA? Do you wanna do a step? Do you want every person hired? Which one of these do you want? And then we go from there.
well,
Can I chime in?
go ahead.
So let's assume the correctional center will be finished in April, which is kind of what they're assuming right now. They're not gonna toss us the keys and we'll immediately fill it with inmates. I mean, I think at a minimum, we could slow roll that to some degree. And then, I mean, also when it comes to like HR, for instance, I'd like to see if everyone's working on site and nobody's remote, whether there's a really actually a need for additional staff. I agree with Commissioner Rost. I mean, some more, I guess, looking into some of these requests, I think from a pragmatic standpoint might be, pretty beneficial, because I don't feel equipped to say yay or nay really on any of it right now. The only two positions that I'm extremely comfortable with giving the thumbs up to right now would be a custodian, because you know you got to keep the place clean, and I do believe that it should go under Mr. Gershevsky, and an additional sheriff's deputy. So that's kind of where I'm at. I think another meeting is almost a must.
Yeah. If Debbie's gonna work on some of these possibilities, is there a consensus of any sort on step versus COLA? If we don't, since it doesn't look like we can afford both. To me,
I think, how many people are maxed out, Michelle, right now? In the
Said 32 or
13 roughly,
No, it's like 33.
33. So if we give, the COLA, then everybody would get it.
Right,
If we do a step, most
33 people
people
won't.
wouldn't get it.
Mhm.
So I think we gotta do what's fair for everybody at this point.
The 1% of all the 2.8.
but then remember the example of hiring people who, if they don't get a step,
Then we're
hire
running-
people hired the next year.
Are you
I- I-
guys doing the same?
That's where it gets tough.
But your long-term people that have been here a long time
Yeah,
are at the top of the scale, and they would get nothing.
Yeah, but couldn't you work around with the numbers though, if you did a step and not do it, what, was it 2%, 3% goal rate?
Right, I could do, cause right now I'm at 2.8, I could do 1.5, I could do 2, or whatever,
COLA, you mean?
yeah. If you would like me to,
Well, maybe that kind of a combination would be something to
Yeah.
try to work.
Yeah.
I think that might be a good idea to see what that would look like, just so then. We don't go into the issues that we were just discussing.
So it's my understanding that we're gonna have one more meeting, administrative services, and we'll be looking at the budget and passing it in the first August meeting. Is that correct?
Yeah.
it must
August-
be done by August 10th, so
And our first August meeting is what, the 8th?
that's next.
Okay. So we have time to have one more administrative services meeting and give Debbie time to come up with some options.
So,
I think we can do that.
so what I see here is the fact that, and the city does this all the time. They say they don't raise the mill levy for the city of Grand Forks, however. They raise the value of your property. And they hold the mill levy at that, but there's still, the taxpayers are paying more money. And I think we have to try and maintain that 94.50 mill levy.
I think regardless of what we do, I'd like to hold it there.
Yep. But I know this is what, so
Other comments?
Oh, I
Okay.
just have a question. When we're talking about with the way the benefits were budgeted, Debbie, was the change in ND PERS incorporated somehow in your, okay. Because we knew that ND
yeah.
PERS would be less expensive for new hires, but we can't judge how
Exactly,
many new hires. So I just wanted to make sure
yes, we did,
that we're looking at the right number.
yep.
Okay.
Alright.
So the thing that Kim brought up about, so if we did a step and then kind of a hybrid COLA for the people that are maxed out so that they don't remain level. I mean, that to me seems like probably the best of both worlds. And then, you know, I agree with Commissioner Rost. I think keeping the mills where they're at or even bringing them down is probably our best move. And I'm just gonna throw this out there one more time. You know, the Historical Society, that's a special levy, so that goes right back to the taxpayers. We can all raise our hands in victory with that one.
Mark, I know that's exactly what the city does, you know, they went around and reevaluated all the properties in the city of Grand Forks. And raised them up, I know you saw it in your tax statement, I saw it in mine. And yet they can maintain that mill levy because that mill levy is worth so much. So, of the current value of your house, so.
Yeah, I heard Dana Sandy on the radio the other day, and he said the mill levy has over doubled since he's been on the city council.
So I took the spreadsheet that had all additional positions, a step and a 2.8% COLA. I switched it to a 1% COLA. I deducted 2 months for the correctional center. And I came to an increase of 0.64 mils.
Oh, an increase?
Increase, yeah.
And it's on your screen there.
Oh, yeah, there's a
You said
400 numbers,
what was it?
it's right in your screen there.
6.4 increase.
I see that.
1% COLA,
1%.
a 1% COLA,
And this is with IT, HR, deputies,
every single position,
except the 2 months of.
and deducting 2 months for the correctional center. But, yeah, I think you need to look at all those positions, whether we need them or not.
Yeah.
Decide and let me know what the next meeting of
Yeah.
that.
I've got a few ideas written down, but I'm gonna.
And if we're looking at this at home, how would we evaluate those positions? Is that the numbers that you have for the, each of those positions?
I think you would
And then-
talk to the people that are requesting the positions. I don't know how you would evaluate it based on my numbers.
No, I'm just talking about, not the need, just the value,
Oh,
and that's in your numbers here.
it is in my numbers, that how much, you know, like 10 correctional center officers will cost. And I don't know that I have. Oh, I probably didn't deduct enough. I didn't deduct enough because. The correctional center officers I had at 2.8% here,
And now the 1 point.
not a one, so
That'll be a slight difference too.
it would be less.
Yeah.
But I don't have it, I don't have that.
Okay. So should we have a meeting next week then?
I think we
Yeah.
could find the time to do this again, because it was extremely helpful today, I think.
Yeah. It's too
I
important.
like that you did a study, but different options with the red. It's very helpful to.
Yeah, that's you can kind of see
Yeah.
where you wanna be.
Yeah. So. Next Monday, anybody,
No. Next Monday.
got a possibility?
Mark, Cindy, is next Monday good for you?
Yeah, I think that would work.
Yeah, that should be good for me too.
Same time?
Second.
Would be the possibility to do it at 1:30 in some.
Oh, 1:30.
1:30? I mean.
Oh, I don't know.
They ask.
It's a big ask.
How about 1:30?
Yeah, and this time I'll write it down in my calendar as 1:30 rather than 3.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks for doing that for us.
Yep, that should work for me.
All right,
So if you think of anything else you'd like me to show you at that meeting,
Yeah, I like how you got all these things laid out, so that's very helpful. But, yeah, I'm gonna go over these sheets and that makes sense. If I have any questions, I'll call you guys, and everybody can do that.
all right.
All right, is there anything else? Anything else, Mark or Cindy?
No, I'm good, thanks.
Yeah, good meeting. Thank you, Debbie, for the presentation.
Yeah. So, I suppose we're ready for a motion.
Motion to adjourn.
I second.
Oh, Bob.
We're adjourned.
Thank you.
thank you.
Oh, it's so-
Touchscreen's not working anymore.
I remember watching, I watched the commission meeting. And I did it for years. You can't. I don't know how, but you can.
Yeah.
Big
See if I can hit it.